They indicted the people that we caught in California. More to come. Hello, everyone. James O'Keefe here. Just got back from D.C. Just listened to the president's address and going through these declassified documents. My team is pouring through them. What stands out are over 250,000 citizens illegally registered to vote in just the 4 states which public data files have been reviewed. This is what I testified about. Illegal felonies. The DOJ indicted the people that we caught in California. More to come. Also, this document, this is declassified right now on the website online. Today, the government task force announces the first disclosure of U.S. Intel community records that were declassified last week. The declassification reveals that voter registration rolls from 18 states have been compromised by China. Voter registration compromised by China. Additional Intel records reveal that more than 200 voter records were also compromised by People's Republic of China without state-specific affiliations. We're going through all these documents. We're also going to go back in the field and capture the actual video examples of this, which they say does not happen. Very dangerous, but we're going to go back out in the field in the States and capture this. We're working on that right now. It's also very interesting. China has extensive plans to use social media to sway public opinion. This document right here, themes covered a broad range of topics to exploit what China perceived as U.S. vulnerabilities, including racial tensions, disagreements, women's rights. So things that you see in the media influenced by China. We're not influenced by anyone. We operate without fear or favor at OMG. Nobody tells us what to do and what not to do, and some of these declassified documents are just funny. This one, every single thing is blacked out. The only thing you see is analysis on U.S. voter registration from 18 states. Everything's blacked out, and that reminds me of the probable cause in the FBI raid. Every single word of the probable cause justifying search of O'Keefe's home has been blacked out. This is what we're dealing with. The way to get through it is incontrovertible video evidence of them breaking the law. That's what I testified about in Congress. That's what we're going to get. You will have no idea the holy hell that my organization is about to unleash by showing you the truth. Stay tuned. And it starts next week, exposing the deep state.
A total disgrace. But so should we get back to post office stuff now?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a good.
The U.S. Postal Service is now part of this bigger story of this president desperate to federalize our elections. He has tried every which way to say that if he and his party don't win in these November elections, they were rigged. He said it in the State of the Union. You are being used as part of a much bigger story that this president is trying to play out, where he does not believe elections that he loses are valid elections. He's willing to do just about anything to show that he's actually a big winner, no matter what he does. And I just ask you, as a professional, as someone who's done serious things in your life, please push back on being a pawn in this authoritarian playbook. The Postal Service is one of the most important institutions in our country. Don't taint it with the obsession of this one man. Please push back.
You know, one of the things about politics that's different than business is that there's a lot of people who love to talk here. When I came in, it was interesting. I had my team put together this very fancy binder. It was about post office reform. But the hearing has turned into a mail-in balloting conversation and principles of the Constitution, which is very, very heartwarming to somebody who swore an oath to the Constitution when I became a U.S. citizen when I was 18. So are you familiar by any chance? I don't expect you to, but just in case. There was a bill that the Democrats brought up during the Biden administration. And as you know, bills are numbered. So bill number 1 is the first one they do. And then I think we're now in bill number 5,000. But it's called H.R. 1. And then it was also S1. So meaning it was the number 1 priority of Democrats in the House and Democrats in the Senate. Do you remember what that bill is about?
I don't.
You wouldn't. No, I wouldn't expect you to. I was like, you're a business guy that pays attention to all this stuff. It was called the For the People Act. The Democrats are phenomenal at false advertising. So what the For the People did is it basically nationalized our elections. So this bill that they had that was their number 1 priority was about nationalizing the elections. So I know that we live in a world where there's supreme hypocrisy, but the idea that Democrat witness after Democrat witness, instead of talking about how to fix the post office, were talking about the scandalous idea that somehow states' rights were being violated. And yet, 3 years ago, they wanted to take over the entire election system for the United States of America, not to give it more voter integrity, but to diminish voter integrity. Universal mail-out ballots, unsolicited ballots that would go out, automatic voter registration, regardless of whether there's a test to see that person is a citizen. And Mr. Chairman, you were here, you'll remember, they couldn't get it passed because, of course, here you have to get 60 votes, right? We have to get 60 votes. So what did the Democrats advocate for? What did they fight for to get this passed? They want to get rid of the filibuster. They want to get rid of the filibuster so that they could pass nationalized elections. 3 years later, all of them are testifying to say, it's outrageous. President Trump's trying to nationalize our election. He's not. He's trying to get rid of voter fraud. How dare you guys talk about getting rid of the filibuster? If it wasn't for Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, that would have happened. They would have made D.C. and Puerto Rico a state. They would have packed our Supreme Court. But now, all of a sudden, they dug up from their bottom desk drawer the United States Constitution, and they're appalled as they're here talking to you. It's a total disgrace. But so they get back. Should we get back to post office stuff now?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's talk about the post office. If the post office inspector were to look at unsolicited mail-in, mail-out ballots, where you go to an apartment complex and one unit is receiving 6 ballots, that's a problem, right? Meaning, if there's only one human being that lives in that apartment and that one human being is receiving 6 ballots, none of which are in their name because they've been turned over to movement, you wouldn't just suggest, and my Democrat colleagues have left, Elvis has left the building here, but you would not suggest that one person receive ballots that they didn't ask for that aren't even in their name. You would view that and go, wow, this is a problem, correct?
That's what our Postal Inspection Service is there for, is to look for those type of situations. And, we don't open mail. We don't stop the delivery of mail. But we can certainly go to other agencies from a law enforcement point of
and
view.
say, hey, this is a problem. We're seeing this as potentially illegal activity.
Yeah.
No, I totally understand. I just want to give a quick anecdote. I was asked by the government to go down to where I was born, Colombia, South America, and monitor the election down there. They don't allow mail-in balloting. And I asked the registrar, I said, well, why don't you allow people to vote by mail? There's some people who can't get to the polling locations, etc. And obviously we're in Colombia, so we're speaking Spanish. He turned to his aide and said, I don't think the senator is saying the right words. I'm not understanding his question. So I repeated it, and he looked at me quizzically, and he said, well, if you just mailed somebody a ballot without knowing who they were, who's receiving it, that would open the door to massive fraud. You'd have to be totally and completely insane to run an election that way. This is a country with the GDP of the size of LA, lecturing the United States of America on why our elections should be run better. And I think we should look at that as a moment of opportunity.
So if we're all in agreement that it is incorrect to say the 2020 election was stolen.
I'm skeptical of a Democrat from San Francisco running for president. He seems very left-wing, which is why he's doing things like saying the trans girls should not be competing in sports. This is trying to appeal, make it look like he's not submitting.
So is he fundraising for it and stuff like that?
He doesn't have any committees open right now, but that doesn't mean he can't open a committee later and transfer money.
Okay, so is he fundraising for anything right now?
We looked at the ballot initiative top 15. We're very intentionally gerrymandering.
So if there's any funding left over from that and he decides to run for president, he can transfer it.
He can transfer to a PAC, and then,
And is that legal? It is. Wow.
Depending how you do it.
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you.
Governor Gavin Newsom of California has been all in campaigning for Prop 50. The proposition allows redrawing of district lines in California, potentially breaking up conservative areas and merging them into larger Democrat-leading districts so GOP votes no longer win seats. Well, in the past couple of months, many were speculating if Newsom is running a shadow presidential campaign under this new Prop 50 initiative, but until now we didn't really have any evidence. Newsom appears to have some type of national political endeavor, as even CBS's Bob Costa asked him about his national campaigning in red states.
After the 2026 midterms,
you're going to give it serious thought.
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
With Newsom aggressively touting Prop 50 right before he potentially decides to run for the 2028 Democratic nomination, our journalist met with Ross Pike, a director of the California Democratic Party. Pike oversees all of Orange County, Riverside County, and San Diego County for the Democrat Party of California.
I'm the regional director for the California Democratic Party, and I just finished serving as the acting chair for the San Diego County Democratic Party, which is the second largest Democratic Party in the state of California. So I serve in the number 2 position within the party. I'm the only Democrat and only LGBT person to hold 2 offices simultaneously in the county of San Diego. And then I just got re-elected this last 2024.
The California Democratic Party's director immediately revealed to the undercover journalist, he did not know that he was being recorded, that Newsom is not only the primary funder of Prop 50, Newsom is acting as its chief salesman, aggressively pushing it to the voters, potentially to later funnel those funds into his 2028 presidential campaign.
So is he going to run for governor? Newsom.
For president?
I mean, for president.
Probably. I don't know what I would vote for.
Do you guys know if he's thinking about it? Or?
Sure.
But you don't know.
I would be shocked if he did. I'm skeptical of a Democrat from San Francisco running for president. He seems very left-wing, which is why he's doing things like saying trans girls should not be competing against boys. He's trying to appeal, make it look like he's not submissive.
So is he like fundraising for it and stuff like that?
There's only committees open right now, but that doesn't mean he can't open a committee later and transfer the money.
From where?
One account to another account.
Like what account?
Let's say he opens up a committee that gets 100%. For example, start fundraising into that, and then the president transfers the money over to that account.
Okay, so is he fundraising for anything right now?
For the ballot initiative, Prop 50. He is the enabler. So if there's any funding left over from that and he decides to run for president, he can transfer it. And is that legal? It is. Wow. Depending how you do it.
No, there isn't a, quote, depends on how you do it. What the California director here is suggesting.
And ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing.
No party. You're just a bunch of individual parts claiming to be Democrats. You're not a party. You're fragmented. You're weak. And the only way you can get yourself together is to be strong. That's one thing. But take it from me. I'm a novice at this, and even I know this. You have to reclaim being for the working class. When I say reclaim the working class, doesn't that mean money? It doesn't mean bathrooms shared by both genders. It doesn't mean that stuff.
You have no party. Read that line again. That is not a conservative pundit talking. That is a lifelong Democrat who voted for the last 3 nominees. Some critics say Stephen A. is just quoting the data. Working class voters of every background went for the other side by 12 points in 2024, up from 4 points in 2020. Union members from minority communities dropped from an 82-point Democratic lead to just 61. Latino union members went from 28 points to only 12. To Maher, this is the whole party in one sentence. Not a coalition, not a movement, just a broken pile of fragments arguing with each other on cable news. And then Senator Fetterman himself confirms exactly which group left first.
Well,
They're doing better.
I mean, well, without a doubt, though, you know, there's part of the Democratic Party became more and more anti-men, or describing that they were part of the problem, or they have toxic traits, and for those things. And that's why there's been such a big migration away from the Democratic Party from young men, and that's really why why we lost in 2024. Now, if you identify anyone as the problem or blame them for some things, then you're going to lose. We forgot that we are in the business of addition, not subtraction.
Fetterman said it out loud. Democrats told an entire generation of young men they were the problem, that their traits were toxic. Also, their existence needed fixing. In Maher's view, the party literally forgot the first rule of politics: add voters, don't push them out. Instead, they became smaller, louder, and more focused on scolding. And they lost every working class male demographic they used to own.
People sometimes say to me, you didn't used to make fun of the left as much. Yeah, because they didn't give me so much to work with. The oath of office I took was to comedy. And if you do goofy shit, wherever you are in the spectrum, I'm going to make fun of you because that's where the gold is. And the fact that they are laughing at it should tell you something. It rings true. When normal people read that San Francisco has basically legalized shoplifting, they think Democrats have gone nuts. They think, you know, that Ted Cruz guy seems like a real stiff. But at least he believes in the concept of shopping with money.
San Francisco basically legalized shoplifting. That is not a joke. That is a real policy in a real democratic city. Critics say this is exactly why Maher can't stop making fun of his own team anymore. When normal Americans hear a story like that, they don't hear criminal justice reform. They hear a party that has lost its mind. That right there is Maher's whole point. When the smartest comedian in America is roasting his own team every Friday night, the message isn't that comedy has changed. The message is that the party has gone off the rails.
When we see polls and we hear this kind of stuff being talked about when it pertains to the Democratic Party, the last thing you need to see in the damn newspapers and all over social media and in a digital stratosphere is a house divided. You still ain't together? After all of this? And if you're not together, why? Why not? Because, see, I know Chuck Schumer knows what he's doing. House Minority Speaker Hakeem Jeffries has been a guest on this show, and he's always welcome on this show. I respect that man. And I know that when they speak as principled individuals who care about this country and who come with a leftist tilt, but are devoid of extremism. So what's the real problem going on here? Progressives still running the party? AOC? The Squad? Bernie? Sanders? What's the problem? Because there's no way that eat folks on the right if you're divided.
Stephen A. Smith calling out the extreme wing by name AOC, the Squad, Bernie as the reason the party is fractured. Critics believe this is the fight nobody inside the party will have in public. The moderate wing knows the activist wing is losing them elections. but nobody will say it out loud because the activist wing controls Twitter, the podcasts, and the primary process. To Maher, this is the trap that keeps closing on the party every cycle.
Of all the ways America continues to divide itself, nowhere is it more pronounced than in gender. And until the Democrats come to grips with that, they won't have much success winning elections. Let's just put it out there. Women are the Democrats' base, and men who get hit in the head for a living are Trumps. They're the bro party, the party of car shows on the White House lawn and breaking and seeing what happens and busting balls and shooting stuff like beer and laws. Oh, yeah. It's been that way for a long time. The mommy party and the daddy party, the party of pussy hats and the party of truck nuts. But that divide is on steroids now and getting worse.
The mommy party and the daddy party. Read that line again. Only Maher can make his own audience laugh at their own reflection, and the joke lands because the numbers back it up.
Get that done. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So now they want to call me only. That's just cool. I need to come text my granddaughter. She moved into a new apartment, 3-bedroom, 3rd floor though. Let's see if she answered the phone.
Is not available.
I'm still hanging out at her apartment. That's the gate. Okay, you're gone. I just got Ellsworth and Patterson left. Now, we gotta go to the bank. It's getting hot, man. 77 and going. There. Glasses up. These are sleeves to keep from scratching myself on objects that I'm not looking at, you know, like sharp items that you may brush close to. These right here keep you from getting scratched. Let's go to bed. Get out these dirty clothes. What is it? smoking. Burning oil. Don't even know it. We burning oil in that vehicle. I can smell it. You don't have that bitch on. Alright, that does it for me today, guys. I'm gonna cut it short. It's your boy Doug 60 Gang. Make sure you go to whitehouse.gov / what's it, voter / something. Take care.